Hello students. In last session we have discussed the introduction to pandas, and then we have seen the series object and data frame object introduction. How can we create a data frame object, how can we create a data series object. Now we will move to some more detail about the data frame in this video. We will see the data frame attributes today. In last session we have seen the 4 ways to create the data frame. So today we will see how can we access the attributes of the data frame. 1 or 2 marks question generally asked from this topic in CBSE. So please listen carefully. This is a very small topic, and you may score 1 or 2 marks very easily from this topic. So to access any attribute of the data frame, you need to write data frame object name like DTF and then attribute name, the attribute which you want to know. So what type of question is asked? They may ask that if given a data frame, you want to transpose the data frame, what attribute you will use? Write the syntax. Then you will write DTF dot T. If they say that given a data frame and a student wants to print the indexes of the data frame, then what code you will write, what attribute you will use? Index. If they want to know that indexes labels of the column indexes, then what code you will write? It DTF dot columns. If they want to know that axis of the, what is the axis, let me give you some brief idea what is axis before. So let's suppose this is a data frame 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is the data frame. Let's suppose this is the A index, this is the B index for second row. Let's suppose this is the X, this is the Y, and this is the Z. Like what will be the, let's suppose this is the DF, this is the name of this data frame, let's suppose. Now if you want to know the DF, what is the indexes of the rows, what code you will use? You will write DF, what you will write? DF dot index. You will write DF dot index to know what is the index. What will it will print? A comma B. If you write DF dot columns, it will print X, Y, Z. If you write axis, so this is known as axis 0, row is known as axis 0, and this is column is known as axis 1. Keep that in mind. This is known as axis 1 and this is known as axis 0. So if you want to print the axes, you will write df dot axes. It will print both index and column axis. D type. What is the D type? If you write the df dot D type, then you just say this common code df dot D type you will write, then it will print the data types of the values contained in data frame. What type of values contained in data frame? Integer type values. So it will print np.int. Size. What is the number of elements in the object? Number of elements in database are how many? 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 numbers are there. So what is the size of the data frame? 6 is the size of data frame. Shape is the number of rows comma number of column, number of rows comma number of column. So how many rows are there in the data frame? 1 2 rows are there, so 2 will be the number of rows. How many columns are there? 1 2 3. So what will be the shape of this data frame? Number of rows comma number of columns, 2 comma 3. What is the values? np dot values will return the values of the data frame as a numpy array, one dimensional numpy array. It will print 1 2 3 4 5 6 directly. empty, it is indicator check whether if examiner directly asks that write down the code to check whether the data frame is empty or not, then you will write the write the code as df.empty. It will check that whether the data frame is empty or not. And last one is the T. T is basically used to transpose the indexes and columns of the data frame. What is the transpose? Transpose is making the row as a column and column as a row. For this particular data frame, and let's suppose someone writes a df.t, then what will be the output? The output will be row will become the column and column will become the row. So it will, what will be the output? Output will be look like this. So what is the row? 1 2 3, so it will become column 1 2 3, it will become column. What is the second row? 4 5 6, so it will become column 4 5 6. So this is how the transpose function works. So these are all the attributes. 1 or 2 marks question may be asked, so keep those in mind. Let me move next. Yeah, so now we will see how can we access the data frame. So far we have seen how can we create a data frame and how can we access the attributes of the data frame. Now we will see how can we, if anyone wants to print the value inside the data frame, then what is the way. In last video we have created a data frame like this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we were having the label as first, I am not writing completely, second and third I am saying like this, and the labels of the rows will be was like this, A comma B. This is the sort. Okay, these are the first, second and third complete. Now if you want to access the only first column of the data frame, print the first column of the data frame, then what we need to write? We need to write dtf dot first. If you write dtf dot first, then we will be able to print the first column. Or if you want to print the second column, let's suppose this is the one way using dot operator, and this is the another way using subscripts like this. These are both are the similar. If you write the dtf, then like if you like this, and then we will write like this. This is also similar. Okay, this is also similar to the previous one. dtf then colon second. This will print the second column value is 2 comma 5, and this will print the first. This will print the first. So what will be the first? 4 1 comma 4 will be in the output. Okay, so this is how we can create access the data frame object. Okay, another example. This is very important. Many of the times it is asked what is LOC function. LOC function. So let's suppose we have created this data frame. In the book this example is also given in Sumita Arora, you can refer. So this is the column index and this is the row index. Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. Population, average income and per capita income is given for the different cities. Like if we want to, what is the syntax of LOC? First I am telling you, df data frame object name dot LOC, then square bracket, then start row and end row. This first portion will be for row and second portion will be for column. Okay, so we will I will clear it with the help of example. So like this is the data frame, and if any student wants to display the population, average income and per capita income of the city Delhi only, then what will be the right? What will we write? dtf dot loc then you will write starting of the row. Starting of the row is Delhi only. We haven't included this colon, so it is not a slicing. It will directly fetch the Delhi row, and for all columns you just type after comma colon. It will fetch all the columns for this particular row. So for particular Delhi row, all the columns are what? Population, average income and per capita income. So population, average income and per capita income for Delhi city is shown. You can see here 1,000, 45,000, 44.95 and so on. Then second example is, if you want to display the population and per capita income, population to per capita income, all the columns for all the rows. All the rows, why I am predicting all the rows? Because colon is written after comma, you are starting position of the column and ending position of the column. So starting position of the column is population, ending position of the column is per capita income, and this is left with colon colon, row is left with column column. So it will fetch all the rows. So all the rows is fetched: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, all the rows are fetched. And for all the rows, population to per capita, how many columns are there? 3 columns are there. So all the 3 columns will be there: population, average income, per capita income. So all the data frame columns and rows will be displayed as per requirement. Next example is dtf.loc. if you want to fetch, what we want to fetch? From Mumbai to Kolkata, starting row position, ending row position. Starting row position is what? Mumbai. From Mumbai you want to stop at what? Kolkata. You want to display the Mumbai to Kolkata rows, and how many columns? Column is blank, so all the columns. We want Mumbai to Kolkata data with all the columns. So this is how Mumbai is filtered, Chennai is filtered, Kolkata is filtered with all the row, all the columns. All the columns means, column means all the columns: population, average income and per capita income. So all the columns are displayed here. Next example, if we specify all the arguments, then it will filter like that. Like anyone wants to filter row from the starting from Delhi, column start ending at the Mumbai, population starting column and average income ending column. So what will be displayed? Delhi to Mumbai. Delhi to Mumbai means these 2 rows will come, and population to average income. Population to average income, only these 2 column will come. So these 2 rows, Delhi and Mumbai, Delhi and Mumbai, and 2 columns, population and average incomes data will be displayed. Okay, so I hope the LOC is clear. In LOC we will define the starting row, colon, end row first, then comma, then starting column, colon, end column. If we skip the start column and end column and leave it with a only colon, then it will fetch all the rows, and if we leave the only column in the row portion, then it will fetch all the rows, like we have seen in this example and this example. Okay, let me move ahead. We will see another important concept, iLoc. This is very similar to loc, but it will work, the loc works on the labels. Loc works on the labels of the data frame, but the iLoc works on the index of the data frame. Keep this in mind. Okay, so let's suppose we have the data frame we have seen in previous example, and we are using this iLoc 0:2. 0:2 matlab 0, 1 row will be selected, like we have done the NumPy array slicing. Similarly 1, 3, these are the rows will be selected, and columns, what columns will be selected? Columns will be selected from 1 to 3, 1, 2, because it works for n minus 1. So 0, 1 row, 0, 1 row is Delhi and Mumbai, as we can see in the previous example, and 1, 2, 1, 2 column is average income and per capita income. You can see that in the previous slide like this. This is the 0 1 row and 1 comma 2 columns is population and average income. Okay, so this is the output we are getting. Now if you want to try another example using, what will be the output of this? 0 comma 2, which rows will select? 0 comma 1 row will select, 0 comma 1 row will select, and what column will select? 1 comma 2. 1 comma 2 means 1, only 1 will be selected because 2 is the ending position and n minus 1 up to it will select, so only 1 column will be selected. What is the column number 1? So in the previous slide you can see what is the column number 1. Row will be fetched 0 comma 1 and column will be fetched 1. First column and 0 comma 1 row. What is the first column is population and 0 comma 1 row is Delhi and Mumbai. So what will be the output? Delhi and Mumbai average income is selected. Okay. So actually first column will be this average income because 0 is the index number of this. That's why average income will be the selected. Sorry, I have interpreted in wrong way. So output will be average income column and Delhi comma Mumbai rows. Okay. So this is the example of iLOC. So keep that in mind. Questions may be asked on LOC and iLOC also. Selection of the individual value from the data frame. If you want these are the LOC and iLOC is used to select the multiple rows at a time. But if you want to select the single value from the data frame, let's suppose this is the data frame, and if you want to select the single value, like if you want to select the okay, so this is the data frame, and if you want to select the this particular value 5, then what will be the syntax? DTF dot column name is 2 and the row in which it is situating is B. So as per this column, this syntax we are writing the data frame object name is DTF, then column name is second column, and then row name is B. So this is how we can access the individual value. You can also use at or iat function for printing this. At means row and then column. So a row and 3 column. A row 3 column, what will be value? 3. So this is printing 3. Similarly iat works for on the indexes, say like iLOC work on the indexes, LOC work on the labels. Similarly at works on the labels and iat works on the indexes. So first number row is what? This is the row number 0, this is the 1. So first row and second column will be what? 0 1 2. So the second column is this, first row is second column and first row is this and second column is this. So what will be the printed? 6 will be printed. This is how you can access the individual object. Let me move ahead. Now we will see another important topic, column deletion. If you want to delete a column or delete a row, this question is also maybe asked in 1 or 2 marks. So if you want to delete a column, you will use a del function. If you want to delete a column or row, if you want to delete a row, you will use the drop method directly. If you want to delete a column using drop method, you may pass the axis equals 1. If you want to delete the 4 column, in the previous example you will write del data frame name and then the name of the column. It will delete the 4 column from this particular data frame. If you want delete the 2 and 3 column from the data frame, and if you drop by default deletes the rows, but if you pass the axis equals to 1, then it will delete the columns. Okay, so 2 and 3 column will be deleted, only 1 is remaining. If you want to delete, let's suppose delete the B and C row, then what will you write? DTF dot drop then you will pass, let's suppose B and C row you want to delete, B comma C. So if you want to delete these two rows, then you will use dtf dot drop b comma C. Okay, so this drop method by default axis is 0, you know. So if you pass the axis 0 or don't pass the axis, it will by default delete the rows. If you pass the axis axis equals to 1, then it will delete the columns. Okay, let me move ahead. Yeah, one more thing I have skipped. Let me cover this. Yeah, so we have created the data frame, accessed individual values, deleted the data frame values like columns and rows. If you want to change the data frame values or add a new column or a new row, then what you will use? So to change or add a new column, what you will be the syntax dtf object or object name dot column name and then row label and then new value. If you, this is the data frame, let's suppose, and if you want to add the fourth column here, then what will be the syntax dtf then bracket then 4 column name and then the value. This is like 44. If you pass only single value, scalar value, it will be repeated for the 3 rows. If you want to add different value like 44, 45 comma 46, then you need to pass the list like this. So both page correct. Then in that case, instead of 44, the value will become 45, and instead of this 44, the value will become 46. So both way it will work. Now to add or change a row, this is the way to add a column, this is the way to add a new row. New row can be added using lock or add function. If you want to add a new row like D, then you will pass like this D and then colon blank for all rows. For D row you will, for all columns you will put the 88. So 88 will be repeated for all the columns. But if you want to add like different values like 89, 90, 91, then you will pass the list. Then 88 will come, then instead of this 88, 89 will come, instead of this 80, this 90 will come, and instead of this 80, this 91 will come. So this is how you can create, add a new row. So the question may be asked in exam to write down a Python code to add a new row in this particular data frame, new column into the data frame. So keep that in mind. Now the next important concept is data frame iteration. It is covered in 11 class, but for a quick revision I am just sharing it. Question may be asked or for just syntax, write down the syntax to iterate the data frame. So there are two functions, itr rows and itr items. Itr rows function is basically used to iterate the data frame row wise, and itr items is basically used to iterate the data frame column wise. You need not to worry to just by heart this code, just remember the function name. It will be helpful for you to just revise, because the major question will be not asked from the itr rows and itr items, but you should know itr rows will iterate row wise and itr items will iterate column wise. That will suffice. If you remember that, that will be benefit. Next one is the binary operations on the data frame. Binary operations means small operations like addition, multiplication, subtraction and division. I am sharing it here for your reference, addition and subtraction. You will do multiplication and division on yourself. Let's suppose data frame is given, data frame df1, df2, df3, df4 is given, and if you want to add these two data frames like dtf1 and DTF3 if you want to add, then what you will do? You notice that DTF1 has the 3 rows, but DTF2 has only 2 rows. The columns are same, A, B, C, 3 columns are there in the both the data frames, but the columns rows are different. In this case, DF1 have the 3 rows and DF3 has the 2 rows. So if we add this, the element wise element addition will happen, like 0, A, 0, A, 100 and 1 will add 101, 2 and 202, 202, 3 and 300, 303, 4 and 400, 404, 505, 505, 606, 606. We don't have the second column here, so by default the NaN values will be considered, and if we add anything with NaN, then NaN will be populated. So on the second row NaN will be populated for all these values. Okay. Similarly, if you want to add DF1 and DF2, DF1 and DF2 both have the similar structure, 0, 1, 2, A, B, C, 3 columns and 3 rows. Similarly, here we have 3 columns and 3 rows, so the respective values will be added. 10 and 1, 10 and 1 is 11, 2 and 20, what is 22, 3 and 30, what is 33, 4 and 40, what is 44. Similarly, you can add all the respective values. Similar way, if you want to add the DF1 and dot reverse add DF2. Reverse add is nothing but adding, like in this case what we are doing, we are adding 10, 1 plus 10. In this case what we are doing, 1 plus 10. 1 plus 10 will always be 11, and 10 plus 1 will also always be 11. So our add method or output of the addition method will be similar, because addition happens from, if you do addition from left side or right side, it will be same value, but for the subtraction it will be different, because 1 minus 10 will be what? Minus 9, and 10 minus 1 will be what? 9. So this is different. So for subtraction it is different, but for addition it will be same, because adding from the left side, right side, it will work similarly. So keep this in mind. For subtraction, our subtraction method will return different output depending on this value. If we are adding the df1 dot r add, then df1 values will be added with the df2 value. If you write df2 dot add df1, then df2's values will be added with df1. So keep that in mind. See, addition is very simple method. You can perform all these methods. I have given the examples for your, this is for your practice. Let me move ahead. Yeah, subtraction. Similar way, subtraction, df1 minus df2. So the values of df1, 1 minus 10, what will be output? Minus 9. 1 minus 2 minus 20, what will be output? Minus 18. 2 minus 30, what will be? 3 minus 30, 3 minus 30, what will be the output? Minus 27. Similarly, 4 minus 40, 4 minus 40, what will be the output? Minus 36, and so on we can do. Then if you are doing df1 dot r sub df2, then df2 values will be df1 values will be subtracted from the df2. Then in this case the output is different. You notice that df2 is value what is 10. 10 minus 1 is what? 9. 10 minus 1 is what? 9. But in this case it was different, df1 minus 2 df2, because 1 minus 10 is minus 9, because but here 10 minus 9 is 1. So this is the noticeable thing. Other things will be remain very similar. df1 minus df3, both the data frames are not compatible, because one row is missing, so all the values, corresponding values will be NaN. If we subtract the df1 minus df4, similarly if you subtract the df1 minus df4, df1 has the column but df4 doesn't have the C column, so entire column values will be NaN. This way you can do subtraction. The question will be asked very simple, given a data frame, what is the equivalent Python code to subtract the values from df1 to df2, then you will write df1 minus df2 or df1 dot subtract df2 similar way. So question will be asked very similar, either they will give the data frames and ask the output, or will give the data frames and ask the code to write what is the code to subtract the data frame 1 from the data frame 2, then you will write df1 minus df2. So such type of questions you need to prepare. Next is head and tail function. We have already seen those head and tail functions in the series object also. Similar way there will be also head and tail. Head will fetch the top 5 rows by default and tail will fetch the bottom 5 rows by default. And if you pass the number in the head, directly you can pass 3, n equals to 3, no need to write n equals to 3. You can directly pass 4, no need to write n equals to 4. If you want you can pass n equals to 4 or n equals to 3 also. If you pass the value n equals to 3 or 4, then it will fetch accordingly. It will not fetch the top 5 and bottom 5. If you are seeing the df.head, then it will fetch top 5 rows. What are the top 5 rows? These are the top 5 rows. So it will fetch like this. If you write the df.tail, then it will fetch the bottom 5 rows. What are the bottom 5 rows? These are the bottom 5 rows. Okay. And similarly df1.head n equals to 3, then top 3 rows will be fetched. What is the top 3 rows? These are the top 3 rows. And if you pass the n equals to 4, then bottom 4 rows will be displayed. So these are the bottom 4 rows is displayed. So it is very simple. Either they will ask the code for calculating the head values and tail values, or give the code and you will be asked to find the output. So both way you need to prepare. Let me move ahead. Yeah, this is an important operation. Sum operation means cumulative sum. So let's suppose this question may be asked as an output, find out the output, or they may ask what is the output given in the data frame, give the code, or they will ask what will be the output, or they will directly ask what is the syntax of the sum function, how can we use the sum function, then you will write this. You will be able to, you should write this. Okay, so let me explain how the output is calculated. df1 is given, ABC is the column index, 0 1 2 is the row index. df1 dot sum x is equals to rows, then what will happen, first row you will pick up like 1 2 3, you will pick up like 1 2 3, you will pick up. Your base data frame will be this only. So if x is equals to row, then what will be the first row you will write as it is. Then from subsequent rows, let's suppose you will be writing at this position, then what will do, 4 plus 1, 4 plus 1, what will be the value, 5. For this position, 5 plus 2, what is the value, 7. For this position, what is the value, 6 plus 3, 6 plus 3 is 9. And for writing this value for that position, what will be the value for the previous values, all add all those. 7 plus 4 plus 1, what is the value, 12. For 8 plus 5 plus 2, 8 plus 5 is 13, 13 plus 2 is 15. So the 15 will be printed like this. For this particular position, what will be the value, 9 plus 6 is 15, 15 plus 3 is 18. So it will perform row wise sum. Okay. And for sum x is equals to column, it will perform column wise sum. In that case, what you will do, write down the first column as it is. This is the first column, write down in the first column as it is 1 4 7, and do the similar operation that we do for the rows, we will do column wise. Like for this particular column position, what will we do? 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So you will write 3. For this position, 5 plus 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. For this position, what will be the value? 7 plus 8. 7 plus 8 is 15. So you will write like this. For this particular position, 3 plus 2 plus 1. What will be value? 6. For this particular position, what will be value? 6 plus 5 plus 4. 6 plus 5, 11. 11 plus 4 is 15. And for this particular value, what will be the value? 9 plus 8 plus 7. 9 or 8? 17. 17 or 7? 24. So you will write the 24. So this way you can use the CumSum method. Okay. So let me move ahead. Yeah, this will be the last topic of this slide, this video. Data frame handling the missing values. What is the missing values? Like while entering the data, you may have not enter anything. In Python or in Pandas it is denoted by NaN, or in Python it is sometimes denoted by NEL, or in MySQL it is denoted by null. You might have seen those. So these are representation of the not a number, not a value. Okay, there is nothing. So handling of the data, missing data means if there is an NaN is present in data frame, and if you want to delete all such columns or rows that has the NaN value, then in that case you will use the dropping the missing data. You will see this, you will call this operation as dropping missing data. If you want to delete the corresponding columns or corresponding rows which contains the NaN, then this operation is known as dropping the missing values. And if you want to fill up the some default value in place of the NaN value, then this operation is known as filling the missing data or imputation. Like df10 is a given example. A, B, C is a column, 0, 1, 2 is a row, and these are the some values, and C column has the NaN values. And if you want to delete all the NaN values from this particular data frame, then what it will do, drop NA method will do, it will delete the all the rows that contains the NaN value. The first row contains NaN value, it will delete it. Second row contains NaN value, it will delete it. Third row contains NaN value, it will delete it. So our output will be nothing. Blank data frame will be printed because all the data items has been deleted, because every row contains the NaN. If this row doesn't contain the NaN, then this row will come in output. Top two rows will be deleted. And similarly, fill NA method will what it will do? It will fill the NaN values with 0, because this C column has the NaN values, so it will fill those values with the 0. So this is the example of fill NaN value, and this is the example of drop NaN value. So you can remember those. 1 or 2 marks question may be asked, what is the function used for filling the NaN values, what is the function is used to drop the NaN values. Keep that in mind. Okay, let me move ahead. So this is some practice question if possible, and I am sharing some questions with you for solving. Let me show you some important question. Yeah. So let me see some questions from today's session. Like see the 10th question. From last 2 sessions we will see what is series object. Explain with the help of example. Direct question is asked. Pandas series is a one-dimensional labeled array capable of holding the data. You can write it. Pandas data series is a one-dimensional data structure, and the index of this series object can be anything: integer, string, float, Python object, anything. and you can give the example, import pandas pd pd.series and print the data. So this is the 2 marks question, simple, very simple. Let me move ahead. Another question we may find. Let's see the 14th question. Consider the following Python code and write the output. So this is the Python code, import pandas pd pd.series, a series object is created. This will create like this. So it will have 2, it will have 4, it will have 6, it will have 10, it will have 8, and it will have 10. This is like this. And by default index argument is not passed, so index will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so this is the series object, it will print. Let me move to the next question. Let's see the 15th question. Given the Python code, insert a row in the following data frame at the location 2. At the end of this data frame, you want to insert the column number 2. So which code you can use? df.lock colon 2 equals to 3 ranu and 44. We have seen the lock method for adding new row in the data frame. Just revise the previous. This is the pen is doing some notorious thing. Let me see the 17 example. So this is the question that simply asking write down the Python code to create the below data frame. So subject, teacher and school is the column index, 0, 1, 2, 3 is the row index. So you can create the data frame code, import pandas pd dtf equals to, you can create a dictionary. Subject, then you pass all the values, physics, chemistry, math, cs. Then teacher, then you can pass all the values. This is the example of creation of data frame using 2D dictionary. Then school key, and then you are passing the all the values kv, jnv, jnv, kv, and then pass this dictionary into this data frame code pd.data frame. Then you are passing this dictionary and it will print. If you will print, you will print this data frame. So these are the simple questions. 2 or 3 marks questions are asked. So we will discuss more questions after ending of this chapter. So I have just shared some of the questions for your practice. Thank you so much. If you have any doubts, you may ask. Identify the slide in which you have doubt, then write the slide code and then write down the problem and send it to this email. Or if you have any suggestion, you may send it in this email. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.